Walking away looks simple from the outside. Just leave. Just quit. Just end it. But walking away isn't a decision problem. It's an identity problem. And weak men don't lack intelligence. They lack the ability to let an identity die. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Weak men don't stay because things are working. They stay because leaving would collapse the story they've been telling themselves. And that story feels safer than freedom. Let me explain. Every serious commitment you make eventually stops being something you do and becomes something you are. The career you chose, the relationship you defended, the belief you argued for publicly, the investment you convinced others was smart. At first, these are decisions. Later, they become identity. So when reality starts sending signals, this isn't working, this is draining you, this is costing more than it's giving, walking away doesn't feel like strategy. It feels like self-destruction. Because if you leave, who were you all this time? That's the question weak men can't face. So they stay. Not because they're blind, not because they're stupid, but because leaving would force them to admit something unbearable. I misjudged. I ignored warnings. I built part of my life on the wrong foundation. And the ego would rather bleed slowly than die quickly. Now watch how this plays out in relationships. A man stays in a relationship that drains him. Not because he's loved, not because he's respected, but because leaving would mean admitting he invested years in the wrong person. He would have to confront the time, the effort, the identity of being the loyal one. So he reframes suffering as virtue. He calls endurance commitment. He calls fear hope. He calls stagnation working through things. That's not strength. That's avoidance disguised as character. Now take this into money and career. Why do men hold losing investments long past logic? Because selling locks in the loss. And as long as they don't sell, they can still pretend they were right. Why do men stay in dead-end jobs they hate? Because quitting would mean admitting they climbed the wrong ladder. So they wait. They say, 1 more year. After this cycle, things will turn around. That's not patience. That's the sunk cost trap, tightening around identity. Now here's the part most people miss. Weak men confuse effort with progress. They believe that because they've suffered, the outcome must eventually justify it. They believe pain earns results. It doesn't. Pain only proves tolerance, and tolerance without direction is just slow self-erasure. Strong men understand something weak men don't. The longer you stay in the wrong situation, the harder it becomes to leave. Not practically, but psychologically. Because every extra day adds weight. More explanations to undo, more pride to swallow, more identity to dismantle. That's why weak men delay. Delay keeps the illusion alive. As long as they haven't left, they can still pretend they're choosing. Now look closer. Weak men don't fear failure. They fear interpretation. They fear how the exit will look. What will people say? What does this make me look like? How do I explain this? So they choose quiet misery over visible correction. They decay privately to avoid embarrassment publicly. That's the real prison. Now here's the brutal truth. Walking away early feels painful. Walking away late feels humiliating. Weak men wait until humiliation is forced on them. Strong men leave while they still control the narrative. That's the difference. Strong men don't romanticize persistence. They romanticize accuracy. They don't ask, how much have I already invested? They ask, what does this cost me if I stay another year? They don't defend decisions emotionally. They audit them regularly, coldly, without nostalgia, because they understand this rule. Your past effort does not entitle you to a future return. Now turn the lens inward. Where are you staying because leaving would bruise your pride? Where are you investing because admitting error feels unbearable? Where are you calling endurance strength when it's actually fear? Here's the shift. Power isn't built by staying. It's built by exiting correctly. Knowing when to cut. Knowing when to detach. Knowing when loyalty becomes liability. Weak men need certainty before they leave. Strong men leave when probability turns against them. And that ability, to walk away without permission, without applause, without validation, that's real strength. Stay sharp.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.